Anna Rodney is the owner and founder of Chicago Family Doulas and Birth and Baby University. Chicago Family Doulas provides trusted expert support through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. They offer in-person and virtual classes, birth doulas, and postpartum doulas. They provide live-in newborn care as well as daytime and overnight newborn care and support. Families feel cared for and are never alone on their journey. Birth and Baby University offers fully online evidence-based classes that prepare you for your childbirth, baby care, breastfeeding, and beyond, all at your own pace. Feel confident, supported, and empowered every step of the way. Trusted by thousands of families. Connect with them today at hello@chicagofamilydoulas.com and get the expert support you deserve. Welcome to the Mami Collective. I'm Paulina Rowe, radio host, TV contributor, writer, and mom of one. This is where ambitious moms come to keep their identity intact while navigating motherhood. Here we talk about the real stuff: career, money, relationships, identity, and everything that gets messy in between. You won't find sugarcoating or cliches. What you will find are unfiltered conversations, real resources, and proof that you don't have to lose yourself to be a good mom. The Mami Collective is here to remind you can be ambitious, you can take up space, and you can thrive in motherhood and in everything else that makes you, you. Before we get into the episode, make sure you're following the Mami Collective on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and share this podcast with a mommy in your life who needs a little inspiration or just a reminder that she's killing it. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and leave us a review so we can keep showing up and reach every ambitious mom out there doing big things. Let's get into it. Mami Collective, another episode, and we are here today with Chicago event planner, event shaker and maker. I'm going to just call you like the queen bee of events because you really do it all when it comes to the events, and we'll dive into all of that as well. Also a multiple business owner, a mother. You are a mother of one, a beautiful daughter, and then you also are a coach. I believe you do help other entrepreneurs, right? Moms, women, just sort of really tap into their craft and make the most money that they can make in it, which I think is so important. And we're going to talk about that too.
Yes, 1,000%. That's me.
I love it. Marisa Carrillo is here. How are you, dear?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. Thank you so much first of all, for supporting Mami Collective, because you've been to like our 1-year anniversary. You know, I love how much you do ride for the community. I really do appreciate all that you do. And, you know, as a fellow mom, I truly admire you. And I love
Thank you.
Of course, I mean it. And I really do love that you are a multiple business owner. And I feel like that's so important. And I'm really curious, do you happen to know what you are on the manifesting scale? Do you know exactly what kind of manifestor you are?
No, I mean, I pray,
Yes.
but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
I've taken personality tests and stuff before. But that's about it. That's about all I know.
Yes, because you remind me of me. And by that, I mean, I would assume, and I could be wrong, but I can send you a link. You'll find out if you are a manifesting generator, because a lot of times we fall into this category where we are multi-hyphens, but we like to kind of dip our toes in different things, you know, you're not going to catch Marisa or I at one place, one job from, age 21 to 64. It's not who we are. And we're very creative. So I'm I don't think that, exactly. I think you kind of fall into that. Again, could be wrong.
I would agree with that.
I kind of see it. Marisa, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not know you?
Yeah. So my name is Marisa. You guys know that. I'm going to be 32 next month.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm a wife, a mom, multiple business owner, like you said. I have 2 dogs who are my everything. They are also my children. And I'm honestly I love to help others. I love supporting women. I think I'm just a natural nurturer. And so I always want to see everybody around me, being their best self, doing whatever it is that they love to do. And I fully encourage that. So yeah.
Oh, 100%. So what do you do across your businesses, and how did you end up in the event space?
Yeah. So I always say that the event world I didn't pick the event world picked me.
I love it.
Man, what I mean by that is I obviously run interconnected businesses, right? So I run an event planning and design company. So I plan weddings and like celebrations and all kinds of events. Whenever I'm asked what kind of event I do or don't do, I literally do them all. It doesn't matter the size, anything from corporate to family to like small celebrations. I also run an artificial floral arch business with my bestie, Sophia Slay, those of you who know. And I also coach and educate event planners and balloon artists and decorators who want to build profitable, sustainable businesses. Aside from that, I co-founded and co-lead a community for event planners, designers, mainly balloon artists with one of my other besties. And it's really just all about empowering, again, the event community, other women. But I started my business because I had my daughter. And so, yeah, my mom, I mean, I come from a very creative family. And so my mom was always like, we can make this, we can do this ourselves. And that's how I was raised. So when it came time for my baby shower and like my daughter's birthdays, that's where I kind of dipped my toes in it. And then I was the person who did that for those around me, right? Like always the organized, creative one. And then it kind of just went on from there.
That is so cool. So then at what point, Marisa, did you kind of realize if there was like a moment, right, that you could remember, like, I'm not just doing events or I'm not just decorating a party, even though I know it's much more than that. When did you kind of realize like I'm actually building a real business, like a real company?
Yeah, I think it was really when I noticed that people were not like they loved how the events I did like turned out, but I started to notice that they weren't just booking me because of my creativity or like how I could make something look. They started booking me because they trusted my process and they trusted just like the systems that I had in place. Not that they knew the systems, but I guess I just came off very organized and like I had it together. So sooner or later, my months were booked out, you know, sometimes a year, 2 years in advance for like weddings and like larger events, you know, just paying deposits, like nothing, no questions asked. They were just really trusting my judgment. And so I think that was really the moment that I realized like this is something that's real and sustainable.
I love that. How long did it kind of take to feel that from, you know, the first day you started until that feeling?
Yeah. So when I first started, I was still working full time. And
what were you doing? If I can ask.
Yeah. So I started my business in 2017. And at that time I was working at a law firm just as a receptionist. And then eventually I like moved my way up. I didn't really like it.
I get that.
It was just crazy. But so you know, the first 2 years that I started my business, I was there and I was like, oh, like, we'll see how this goes. And I would say probably a year and a half, like closer to COVID time, I was like, okay, I could say this now because I'm not there anymore. I stopped focusing on my work because I was focusing on my business. And so I would say like maybe around 2 years in, and then COVID happened. I got laid off. And unfortunately, like I always say, and I know not everyone can relate to this, but COVID was one of the best things that happened to my business because I wouldn't have taken on my business full time because it's scary, right? But I wouldn't have taken on my business full time had I not been like pushed into it. I had no other choice at that point. I was like, okay, well, at least I have this to fall back on. But yeah.
No, that's very real. And I think even today, and we're recording this in 2026, in the beginning of 2026, it almost kind of relates today too, just because I don't know about you, but like left and right, whether it's social media or someone just telling you, a friend or a family member, but people are getting laid off and it's upsetting. And that's why personally, and I love your take on this too, I think it's important for everyone to have a side something, right? And that doesn't mean you got to go full time in it right this second, but I feel like it's important. Like, would you agree?
I would agree. Like I said in the beginning, you know, I fully support, I support everyone, right? I want everyone to win, but like I fully support someone turning something that they love doing, whatever they're passionate about, into something that can make them, whether it's like side money, whether it's money to save for this, whether it's money to pay off this, or making it full time, just for the simple fact that I believe, like we all know, life is short and we should be doing something that we love, even if it's just as a hobby.
100% agree. Girl, yes. And sometimes a hobby makes you money. And if it doesn't, that's also okay. You're right. A hobby is also important to have. So I love it. I love it. So you're running more than one business, like you mentioned. And as far as that goes, how do you decide what gets your time this week, Ray? So like what has to wait? Like, does every business get worked on every day? I'm so curious about that.
Yeah. So I pretty much have like a few filters that I run everything through. And then I have like a framework that I truly like stand by. So the filters are like season, capacity, or impact. And the framework is PTBR, which I actually implemented into my coaching program, but it stands for priorities, time blocking, boundaries, and rest. And the reason why is because I noticed like not only with age, but also just with experience in my business, I have to consider like what is really moving my business forward, whichever one, what is protecting my peace, like my family life, and what is supporting the life that I'm trying to build, like the future, right? Because when you start something, it's so easy to get lost in it, even though that you're so passionate about it. And that's the reason why we get lost in things, right? And so we're always like, maybe not all of us, I can't speak for all of us, but for myself, I was always like, okay, yeah, like when I do something, I'm going to go all in and that's it, like nothing else. But I had to learn boundaries. I had to, you get burnt out so quickly, even though you're doing something that you really enjoy doing. So if it doesn't answer any of those questions, it's going to wait. Sometimes it's not the season for things. Sometimes, my family takes full priority and I just work around that. For the most part, that's how I schedule everything. And if it's not on my calendar, it's not going to happen.
I live by that, girl. If it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. And I mean that anything, to be honest.
Yeah. Like our time is so valuable. And I learned that like going from, like jam-packed days, it is just so not sustainable. It's not sustainable for your mental health, for just like your well-being. Like you cannot our businesses wouldn't be where they are without us, right? So like if we're not okay, that's a problem.
100%. And what does a real week kind of look like for you? I'm curious behind the scenes. So client work, right? I know you do the artificial florals, right? So how does like that look when you're doing installations? Obviously mom life. How do you kind of structure it? Like give me a little day in the life on the pod.
Okay. So every other week I have my daughter, I co-parent. And so that really works for my schedule. And that really allows me to focus on my businesses, mainly when it's my off weeks. The weeks that I have her, so I schedule everything around her school schedule, her therapy schedule. And then usually when she's in school, I'll take meetings. If I have enough time to go and meet with clients or do venue walkthroughs or things like that. But Mondays are my days off. Like I have a strict, like I'm not doing anything business related unless it's a quick email, but like I'm not leaving my house for anything other than my family. And so that's how I like to keep it. Of course, there's an occasional thing that I have that might be like super pressing, but it's really a mix. So it's a mix of like client calls. It's a mix of working like behind the scenes with my admin on like my event business, what needs to get done, contracts, invoices, emails, all of that stuff. And then install days can be anytime between like Thursday to Sunday. I try my best not to work on Sundays because that's like a family day. I like to go to church. And then honestly, just like in between, I like to give myself about 30 minutes to an hour in between things so that I can eat a meal, meal prep or like go to the bathroom. So that's how I do it. But I don't like to take on more than like 5 things a day. Like today I had like 5 things and I was like, okay, this is great.
That's perfect. Do you have busier seasons? I'm assuming if it's events or you're dealing with, certain events, maybe summer, spring?
Yes. Spring, summer, fall are the busiest. Winters are slower, not like super slow where nothing's happening, but during the winter time is like my reset time. Like I'm looking at my business. I'm planning for events like for the next year. I'm like figuring out, okay, what is going to be my strategy for this year? What do I need to do? How many more things do I need to put on my plate? How many things do I need to take off? Things like that. So it's like restructuring, but also just like, I don't know, like a reset, like figuring out, okay, how did the past year go? But it's still not busy, if that makes sense.
No, I totally get it. So you did mention that you have a business, Opal and Vine. That one is created with your best friend, Sophia, or Sophie. And now my question is, a lot of people like the idea of going into business with a friend, family member, spouse, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, partner. So how do you guys make that work, knowing that at the end of the day, like if things go one way, it may not be great for your friendship, and I don't think anybody wants that. So how do you guys sort of structure that to do business together? Pinch is a concierge med spa that brings treatments like Botox, chemical peels, and microneedling straight to your door, because self-care should work around your life, not the other way around. Their board-certified nurse practitioners deliver medical-grade results, minus the med spa waiting room. Book solo or with friends, they call that a pinch party. Whether it's just you or a whole crew, it's expert care delivered your way. Visit bookpinched.com now.
Yeah. So I think when we started our working relationship, it was about like 5-6 years ago. And we actually started working together just like as event planner florist. And then we became friends. Funny enough, we went to the same high school. So we knew each other, but we weren't really like friends in high school. So Sophia likes to say we dated before we got married. And I fully agree with that. Like we have a really, really good working relationship. And the reason why I think it works so well is because we both have really, really strong boundaries. Like we know when to give each other space. We know when it's like, okay, it's friendship time. And then we know when it's like, business time. And we've always it's always been a natural thing that has happened since we started working together. And I think that we also have a really honest friendship, which is why we can be really open and honest with each other in business. And I think that if you don't have that trust and honesty and those boundaries, and also just like a common like for each other, like, I don't think it's going to work, right? Like you got to be honest. You got to tell each other where you're at so that the other person can meet you where you are, but also not be afraid to say, hey, you know what? Like she calls me a risk taker. And I'm the risk taker out of the both of us, but I think that's also why we balance each other out so well. So she's very honest with me. I'm very honest with her. And I think that's how it works. But again, we had the experience of years and years of working together, and it always worked out. Like we really learned that we work so well together. So at the time that we created Opal and Vine, it was just like a natural extension of our businesses, and it made sense.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. And then what about and I'm just curious because a lot of people do ask me the same thing, and I'm like, I have zero advice to give, and I have no experience doing this, to be honest, but I do think about it. But, what about the legal side of it? Is it like, as you would with any business partner, you just lay things out as you should?
Yeah, absolutely. We have contracts, and we have I think it's easier when you have mutual respect for each other, but as long as, we're both really seasoned in our businesses. So that was not even something that was just like a no-brainer. But yeah, we just wrote everything down. We created a plan. We created a growth plan and like what that looks like. And we both just agreed that like, if at any point this doesn't work, then okay, like we're just going to talk about it. But it's going well. So I'm not worried.
I love it. No, not at all. And that's great though. That's 100% how it should be and how it should go. So that's smart. And you both already come from like the business world. So I think that's helpful too, like you said,
it is.
You already kind of knew like what was up essentially. I love it. So I'm curious though, when it comes to your business, what you do, an outsider looking in sees it as a really cool job. They see it as a sexy job. I mean, when you think events, like it's hot. You're like, yes, the hotness, So if you were to be completely honest, what part of event planning do people romanticize, right? And what part is actually the hardest? So physically, emotionally, mentally, what do we love about it when we look at you, right? What do we romanticize?
Oh my gosh, that's such a loaded question. Okay, so people definitely romanticize like the end result, right? Like obviously all of the pretty moments and the photos and like the applause, just like everything, all of the aesthetics, I would say, and then everyone's reaction, right? I feel like that's what they romanticize. But honestly, I would say there's a lot of emotional labor, like I have to hold other people's expectations, their stress, their family dynamics, their budgets, their timelines, and like all of the little details, which people call me crazy, but like that's actually my favorite part of my job, even though it is very emotional. I don't know. I love the chaos. I get it. And I have to stay calm and professional, like under all of that pressure. So there is a lot of emotional labor tied to it. But then there's the physical side, right? Because physically installs are demanding. Like sometimes I'm pulling all-nighters and sometimes there's just like 18-hour days. Like it can be really crazy. Mentally, there's a lot of like decision fatigue. Honestly, it's just most times you are the main person in the room who's supposed to keep the whole, like the energy in the room calm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why emotionally it's a lot, but also that takes a toll on your body. Because after an event, I'm like wiped out. Totally wiped out. I love it. I love what I do, but
totally.
Yeah. So that's also why on the coaching side of my business, I talk a lot about systems because when I started getting to a point in my business where I'm like, oh, okay, this is like real. Like this is, so busy. When I didn't have systems, it was more chaotic. But then when I created systems that actually worked for my business, it gave me the peace that I needed to be like everybody else's peace, So it's like when I'm having an off day, it's okay because the systems are there. Like I have the checklist. I have the step 1 through 100 to know what I need to do. And I can either outsource it or I can give it to my admin or I can give it to like my day of assistant and say like, okay, this is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That I can see that. But I like that you acknowledge the emotional side and you kind of coach your members like to, expect this to happen because you might not know, like, you might not get it until you're really in it.
Yeah.
But I think that's like super important. I go to an event and I'm wiped out emotionally, mentally, physically.
It's a lot.
It is 100%. So I can only imagine from your side, your perspective, 100% agree with that. What about pricing and confidence? I feel like, and because I know you on this level and I've worked with you, I will say you are one of the most confident business owners that I know. And in terms of,
really?
Yes. And especially,
I love that.
I know, and I mean it because when I've worked with you, like I feel like you're no BS, right? When it comes to like, you're the sweetest girl I've ever met, but like you're very much like no BS. Like this is like what I want to do with you, and then we've talked many of times, and even for we haven't talked in the podcast about it, but we are having the annual summit. We're turning into a summit now because it's no longer the 1 year anniversary.
Yay!
We're going to keep on going all the anniversaries. So
I love it.
Yes, he will be there with us. You were at the 1 year anniversary and you also did our backdrop. So, this year I'm going to get you on board much earlier and we're going to get a lot of things planned. Yes, when it comes to the decor. So, but like, when I see that and I love how you're very straightforward, but you also like you put so much into your work, you know what I mean? So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you better be pricing yourself correctly. I'm a big advocate for that, and a lot of women just were not, and I've been in that position. So when I see you, I see the confidence because like you've been in this position for a hot minute, like your first date wasn't yesterday. And I've seen you grow. So that's why I say that. I'm like, I think it's so cool. But I want to talk about it. Pricing, confidence. Yeah. What helped you stop undercharging, if you ever did, or if you ever felt like you have, or people pleasing? Because I'm a big recovering people pleaser.
I am too.
You are? Yes, I'm a recovering though. I'm in recovery.
Yes. Keyword.
How did you start pricing like a professional that you are?
Yeah. So I just got really burnt out. Like, to be really honest.
Wow.
So 2 things, right? Burnout, but also clarity. So I realized that like when you start a business, and I think this goes for everyone, because I have a lot of experience now at this point, talking to so many different business owners, and also just like hearing like, all the things. I thought that it made me like more, I don't want to, like, attractive is not the word, but like, I thought it made me more attractive in a way of like, it made my business more attractive to where more people were going to book me, right? If my prices were lower. I definitely did undercharge to answer that part of your question. But then I noticed, and I didn't notice this until year 5 is when it clicked. So like almost halfway through. that what happened to me was, and I say this to all of my my mentees and like my members. So if you're listening, you already know this, but what happens is you start a business and then you are trying to get clients, right? You're trying to get out there, get you like become known, all these things. And I feel like for that trial period of your business, first maybe year and a half or whatever, I think it's okay. But then I think when you get to the point of like mastering something and then you're doing that thing really, really well, you should really be charging whatever like the market rate is or a little bit more because of whatever experience or education you've invested in. And so what I noticed was because I had started and made a mistake of undercharging for such a long period of time. So instead of just like that trial period, I kept doing it. And so what happens? Word of mouth. Oh, book Marisa because she's really cheap.
Oh, wow.
And that's what ends up happening. And so it took me so much longer, I would say, until like really the past couple of years to start really attracting my ideal customers. Right. And it took me such a long time just to learn that because back then I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have someone that I could, you know, say, hey, like, am I doing this right? And that's also why I believe so heavily in helping other women and helping them grow and correcting their mistakes and shortening their learning curve. Because why would I want someone to make that mistake year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when they could make that mistake year 1, come to me year 2, and then start profiting by like the next 3 months?
You learned that.
Yeah, I learned from my mistakes the really hard way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's
okay.
Going in the bar.
It's part of my story. It's how I gained confidence. The more people trusted me to do larger events, I was like, now I know what I should be charging. So, yeah.
100%. And then how long, if I'm just curious, how long did it kind of, how long until it felt comfortable to say that and to say it with like pride, to be like, well, actually, this is my rate, you know? I mean, I'm sure the first time you probably wanted to hide under a rock.
It took me like, I would say a good year. So I started working with a coach a couple years back. And that's when I really learned like, oh, shoot, I'm doing so much work for free. And I didn't even realize it because again, you know, I didn't like have anybody. Right. And I was really tired of like not growing, of being in a position where I was like, I've been doing this for a really long time and something has to change. So I invested in myself. I hired a coach and she was like, wait a minute, you don't charge for all of this stuff that you do? And I was like, no. And so she just coached me through it. She was like, okay, this is how you're going to do it. And it felt so like, I don't know, disgusting because I was like downing myself. I mean, all of the typical things that we go through before we actually become confident, right? But I had to keep doing it. So I literally had a script for myself. And obviously you can't go super scripted on calls, right? Because they flow organically. But I just remembered the key themes and that's how, and then I just started like one after the other until I was like, okay, I got this. And now it's like ingrained into my brain and it's how I handle every single call because it works. Tried and true. And it's a system that works.
I love that. And I also
like a year.
Yeah. I do feel like you are really emphasizing the importance of mentorship, guidance, you know, having a coach. Because I know at the end of the day, it's like, yes, like if you're a business owner, this and that, like you're already dealing with, you know, expenses and stuff and like your business. But I almost feel like it's more expensive to lose money by not charging correctly, by not advocating for yourself, sticking up for yourself. You know what I mean? By not setting boundaries. Like all these things are costing you money and you're throwing that away. And the opposite side is you could hire a coach, right? The opposite, what is literally the other choice, right? Is invest in yourself, put that money or that whatever that's because it is also time consuming, money, right? Into
a mentor. So I think that's awesome what you're doing.
Red Barrel has always been a place where families come together, and that tradition continues under the care of brothers Luis and Carlos Vasquez. Once a beloved neighborhood landmark, the restaurant was brought back to life when the brothers purchased and restored it in 2017, determined to preserve its legacy for the community. Drawing from their own journey, starting out in Chicago with humble beginnings and building a successful construction company, they poured the same dedication into creating a restaurant that feels like home. Today, Red Barrel offers a warm, family-oriented atmosphere, serving a menu that blends Italian, American, and Mexican flavors while giving neighbors a place to celebrate, connect, and make lasting memories. Be sure to check them out in the Archer Heights neighborhood.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like just emphasize it because now I am coaching. I emphasize it because of like all of the years of mistakes I made. And also I think that we all have a different mindset through every phase of our business. Yes. And in the beginning phase, you think like, oh, like, I don't need anybody. I'm just going to start this and I don't want anyone to tell me anything. Right.
Yep.
And then you go to like, researching. I wonder what everybody else is doing, comparing yourself to everybody, and your mind just like lying to you. And then that's when imposter syndrome sets in. And then it's like, okay, you finally find your people, you find community, you find mentors, you find a coach, whatever it is. And then you're like, oh shoot. And almost every successful business owner, millionaire, billionaire, whatever, if you've ever heard them talk, if you've ever seen them on stage, if you ever talked in person, if you, whatever it is, read their book, they always say the same thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
To invest in yourself, always be teachable. And the reality is that, like, you don't know what you don't know.
And that's point blank, period. You really don't know. You think you do.
No.
But we don't. And I'm in the same boat. So
yeah, we could always be doing something better. We could always be learning something. Like, it's just, yeah. So
100% agree. So now I kind of want to pivot a little bit into your motherhood journey. And I'm curious, how has motherhood changed the way that you run your business, right? So I know we talked a little bit about this, but boundaries, risk tolerance, right? Work hours, priorities. How has motherhood kind of shaped that for you?
Yeah, I mean, motherhood is the reason for like my business, well, all of my businesses, right? But honestly, I think that when you become a mom, through every phase of motherhood is different.
Yes.
But you learn boundaries, right? Which we talked about. We talked about how time should be intentional. I would say like my risks got smarter. I would say that, I'm not chasing the opportunity, right? In the beginning, of course, like I said, I think we have to a little bit. But at this point, like my daughter's going to be 15 this year, and I'm blessed to be able to say that like my business is at a point where I don't have to chase every opportunity. I'm open to every opportunity, but I don't say yes to every opportunity. I think you also have to be wise about that, because I also believe that saying like not all money is good money.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's very real.
And so, I think choosing whatever aligns with whatever season you're in is like the best thing that I could do. Anyone could do, really. And not only that, but now my daughter's at an age where she can come with me to more things, and that she really enjoys like working with me. She loves coming with me everywhere, and I love that. But like, if something is going to be super stressful for me, or if it's not going to make me feel good, I don't want her to see that. So then I might say no.
Totally. I love it.
Yeah.
As you should. And what about the system that you created, right, for staying grounded when these seasons do get a little chaotic, right? So especially as a mom and business owner. So are there any like faith routines, community, anything that kind of keeps you sane and steady?
Yeah, God is my foundation. Prayer, just everything having to do with my faith. But not only that, but like being really intentional about who I surround myself with. All of these, like, I would say all the years through business, and even just like, I had my daughter at 17. So I had her before any of my friends were moms. Like anyone was thinking about having kids around me. And I had I'm sure you've experienced this. Friends start to fall off.
Oh yeah.
You start to find your people, but you also start to learn like the red flags quicker, you know? So just being really intentional, my community, all of my communities, whether it's my work community, whether it's my besties, you know, my family, my husband's family, like God and family and friends and community. That's it.
I love it.
Simple.
I mean, same girl, same. So I completely understand. Oh, I love hearing that from a fellow business owner. That is so cool. I mean, I agree. And what do you think it has been like your biggest lesson? And maybe this is from like a client situation, right? That, you know, if you can share with us, if you don't mind, that maybe didn't go the greatest or like kind of went sideways at some point, right? And something that made you better in business after. Was there ever like a situation that you can think of, a moment? You're like, yes.
Yeah, I could think of a good 3. No. No, but hey, I mean, almost 10 years of business, that's not too bad, right? I would say,
very true.
Yeah, I won't talk about the situations, but I will talk about like what I learned. So all 3 taught me pretty much the same thing: to have a very clear contract, to be very transparent about my boundaries, and to just always communicate everything in an email. Like after a call, let's do a recap email, right? And after whatever sort of negotiation, discussion, whatever it is, make sure on the call that we're like recapping. Okay, so you said this, so I said this, great, whatever it is. Or even, you know, on an inquiry call with a client, hey, these are my office hours, stuff like that. But then also reiterating in an email and making sure that my contract is like airtight. Every time I learn something new, because it happens to this day, again, I will never stop learning. Every single time something even small happens, I'm adding a new clause in my contract. That's not just for me. That's protection for the client, but also protection for my vendors, right? Because I'm the middleman. So I need to protect myself, I need to protect my clients, and I need to protect my vendors. And the only way to do that is with contracts and clear communication.
100%. What tools do you use to kind of make that easier for you? If you're able to share with business owners who are like curious for everything, bookkeeping to contracts to everything.
I use HoneyBook for everything. HoneyBook for everything. It's amazing. It's literally an all-in-one place. I love it. I think I've been a member for like most of my business. It's amazing. You get paid through there. You invoice through there. All of your email communications are organized in that one client's portal. So like whether they email me in their portal or not, HoneyBook picks it up, takes it out of my Gmail, and puts it right in their portal. So like there is no disorganization. Everything is there. You want to take notes, you want venue information, you want timelines, they even have pre-made contracts for you that you can edit. It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
HoneyBook. I love it.
HoneyBook.
That's a good one. I love it. Marisa, what does the rest of the year just started, but what does 2026 look like for you as far as business, motherhood, growth, all that? What does this year look like for you? What's on the agenda?
So right now, what's on the agenda is, this was like my biggest goal for my whole career, but to finally partner with a venue as like their exclusive planner. So that's checked off the list. We finally got that, actually me and Sophia. So we're really, really excited about that.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. But with that partnership, we're also doing events there. So a lot of fun events coming up. One specifically for my birthday on the actual day of my birthday, which is a really cute heart-shaped cake decorating class. And I have a 3-day conference coming up for one of my clients. I have weddings, I have quinces, and just a lot of fun things in between. So
I love it. Oh, that's so exciting. Well, congratulations. And then where can we follow you on social media? Where can we reach out to you, whether it's to, book you for a wedding or a quince or any event coming up, but also if people are looking for coaching or any kind of one-on-one, if you're taking anybody, how can we do that?
Yeah. So my main Instagram, which is my business Instagram, is RIS Events. So it's at RIS.events.
Perfect.
And I have a link in bio. Yeah.
I have a link in bio.
Yeah. So I have my link in bio. You can DM me on Instagram. I have my inquiry form on Instagram if you're looking to book me for an event. I have my email, I think, on there, as well as the link to sign up for coaching. So
Amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Marisa, thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Vacation with Melissa is your full-service travel agency specializing in all-inclusive resorts and destination events. They create seamless, stress-free vacations for families, couples, and groups, handling every detail so you can simply enjoy. Vacation with Melissa also offers education programs and career opportunities in the travel industry, helping others turn their passion for travel into a rewarding career. Whether you're ready to book your dream getaway or start your journey as a travel professional, they're here to help every step of the way. Visit vacationwithmelissa.com or find them on Instagram at Vacation with Melissa LLC.